Hello, let's see, are we online? Yes, we are online. It's been a while since we've been online. I hope everybody's having a good time. We are going to do some, as the title says, some hovercar sketching. I hope you're all into that. And we are going to have a colored pencil that we start with, and then a good old Lamy pen with the purple ink in it. So let's see. All right. So let us get started. And before we do that, I also wanted to just look up a bit of one-seater car, and I'm going to share this. Hey, thanks. It's good to be back. It's a different context, much calmer, better for my head. Hey, alien, welcome. Let me just share. There we go. Yeah, so I am looking for one-seater cars, classic, and I just want to do a hover car with this. Like, you guys know that I like my retro stuff, so I want to go with something like that. I do enjoy this one that I saw here. Looks interesting, so I think there's a high chance that we will go with something like this. Just to let me actually just save image as, and let's go back here, and then we can come back here, and I'll just add it into the little corner. Open steering race car, always good. It's not gonna be an open steering race car, but it is going to be some sort of thing. Okay, let me browse. There we go. This is where I saved it. Okay, so now you should see it in the corner. Let me make it a bit bigger. Okay, so that is sort of like what we're working here. Ashala Shamara, hey mate, thanks. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. There's some off days still every now and then, but I would say most of the time I'm fine. I had a page here that I didn't really draw on, so I thought, why not? Here we go. Why not do it here? A little bit of drawing. Hey Hussein, welcome. So this has a cool little bend there that I'm not sure I'm gonna keep, but I think I'm gonna make it a bit rounder, just because I like things. Lately I've been drawing quite a bit of roundings. Let me actually add another drawing, just in case, because this is a bit too edgy for me. Edgy boy. I might go back to the, what was it called? I don't even know. Oh, where's my face? You guys can't see my face. How can you even? Let's see, webcam small. There we are. Hello. So we move this direction, There we go. No, there's a TV there. I don't want you seeing the TV. All right. You can see my face as well. Let me look a little bit. Oh, there we saw something that I liked. I know I should have maybe done a little bit of this research earlier. That would have been smart. Old rounded car. That would have been more interesting for everyone. Let me just switch back here so you guys can see again what I am doing. So I'm looking at some fun cars. Imagine someone finding your sketchbook after 1,000 years. I think it's going to disintegrate by then, my friend. I would be very surprised if paper would last that long these days. All done with car. Truck. Let's see if we can do something with a truck, because I do want a bit more trucky. And not the American one necessarily, because they are cool, but they don't fit now. British. Let me see. British. So when you're doing research, you have to play around. And sometimes I remember when I was doing my internship at Guerrilla Games, they even had, amongst the interns, because we were not so experienced, they had a saying, they called it bad ref day. So when you were looking for reference, but you just didn't find reference that you liked. So you have to be patient. Internet Guru, hey, will this stream be watchable afterwards? Yeah, all the streams I tend to keep them around. Let's see what it gives. What I like here, it gives you a couple of more interesting options, so it's always good to go in here as well and see if we can. Oh, here, now we're getting there. So if this is nice as well. Let me see. Hey, here we go. This is a cute one. These are actually cute for trucks. Alien, Robert, can you type Group C? Just an extra. Group C. Is it for rally Group C cars? Because this sends me to FIFA. Oh no, these are not what I need right now. Thoughts on the Cybertruck? Team Rivian? Is there some news with the Cybertruck that I don't know about? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think about the Cybertruck. I like this. Okay, let's see if we can do something with this. So I'm gonna open Photoshop, open this here. I don't think I will use this cockpit anymore. I don't like it no more. I'm sorry. I tricked you guys. I said I'm gonna use it. So I'm gonna save images. We're just gonna save it in there. And I am going to bring this back, and I'm going to change the example image for the new one. Alright. Ooh, that's big. Let's make it a bit smaller. Alright, back to drawing. So, hello from Shed. From the shed. Hey Sam. Sam is back from the shed. Bob, how was the trip? You went to New Zealand. Oh yeah, did you meet Sam Hannaford there? And Kim is back as well. How are you, Kim? How was your travels? Everybody's been traveling this past couple of weeks, it seems. So I'm thinking of sort of like a delivery smaller truck thing with a small cockpit on one of the sides. Don't know where yet. Cybertruck is the easiest truck to draw. I don't know, I don't want to draw it, it's just too ugly for my taste. Why the hell did I come back? Oh. So for maybe there's some people in here, we had a couple of traveling people. Kim went to the States on some sort of grand mountain bike adventure tour, and Bob went, I wanted to say down under. Is there like a version of New Zealand that's like down under? Sam, help me out here. But yeah, so Bob was in New Zealand vacationing, checking out the place, I guess. All fine here. It was a really cool trip and had quite some adventures, but glad to be home with Kufuli again and having some luxury instead of sleeping in a tent. Yeah, I guess that helps with really appreciating the nice things of home. Let's cut a bit back here. We're not going to need the wheels, but we will need some space for some sort of hover situation there. Let's see. Different than expected, no time for the south, but saw it from my campground in Wellington. Lots of time, space, dilation, good for the mind. Were you a lot in nature, right? It's also nice because you need that detox a little bit away from all the civilization. I was busy riding my bike all day, no time to think about it. It's funny, this is what I've been telling my wife quite often as well, that whenever I had like a bad day, I was angry, or I just needed to clear my head, nothing was better than... Oh wait, I have an extra light here I forgot about, sorry guys. Nothing was better than just getting on my bike and going on a nice downhill session or something like that. Oh, this I think I accidentally clicked that. Give me a second, maybe I can take them out. There's no need for live chat monetization. Oh, you can't. I can't actually take them out. YouTube, which is okay. That's weird. Well, to insert mid-rolls. Maybe if I don't insert them, then it will not. There we go. Hopefully there's no more mid-rolls now. Matze Bob, beside the bigger cities, everything feels temporary. Very much still like the word settlement implies. We're only guests on these grounds. Nice. That's cool though, right? Like stepping away and doing that sort of thing. Okay, so as you can see, I'm taking the truck, but I'm not really applying everything from it. So the trick is that you want to pick and choose what elements you want to apply. You want to do some pre-sketching, see how it would work, and don't be bogged down by something you decide in the beginning. Things can always change quite a bit. Did you just say my wife? Yes, I did say that. We did get hitched to each other. What was it last? Was it October? Was it last week? 28th of October. There you go. Hello from Russia. Welcome. I can't read Cyrillic. Come to New Zealand, Robert. We will look after you too. Then you can jump on the radio show with me. No ads here yet. Okay. Don't invite me because I might just pop there one day. Watch out with what you do. Ads only come when you join late and load the stream initially. Okay, so if you come late, you get ads. There you go. So that's sort of like punishment. Don't come late, and you won't get ads. I feel like it's worth not coming late in that case. Okay, so this is a little bit boxy, so I want to see if I can adjust that a little bit. So boxiness is cool, but let's see how much we can change up. So I still like this big grill here, but we could have maybe some, like this could be an engine, but it could also be a compartment, and then back here we could have our little cockpit area. And this already works better. See, it's all about making that the outline read, not outline, shape read a bit more interesting. And then we would have some hover things here and here. And then here we could have some sort of propulsion. So as you can see, I'm quite loose. I'm not really worried about being precise at the beginning here. I was sending you the last week's show. It was a fun one. Okay, yeah, do that. I like to hear some funk and some nice hip hop while I do some work or draw. The end of the girlfriend. Congrats to both of you. Well, it's not the end of the girlfriend. She lives on. But thank you very much. What? You got married on 2810? Nice. It was nice. That fact that you had to ask the date is so typical. Yeah, we had sort of a deal that I'm not good with dates, and if we ever need to like commemorate any sort of anniversaries, she will know the date and she will not get mad at me for not remembering, but we will do something nice and I will be very happy about doing something nice. So I think it works so far. What? Oh, there you go.
Do you?
No, of course not.
Something April. End of April?
But so that's also the fun thing, because then we just decide, oh, we're gonna celebrate it now. As in not now, but somewhere around April or March. So we don't care about the exact date when it was. Sorry?
We don't celebrate.
No, but we go out just, yeah. No, we don't celebrate that. That specific, that specific one we don't celebrate. You're right. Yeah. Osman Khan, how can someone draw like you? Any specific advice? Any specific questions? I can give better specific advice if you have specific questions. So like right now, as you can see, oh, other side, wait, up there in the corner, there's sort of a truck. So I'm trying to follow elements from that truck and just connect to something in my head that I have. It's there. But as if you check out some of my previous videos with how I draw spaceships and how I detail spaceships, I work a lot with basic shapes. So my approach is to use a lot of basic shapes. I would say that's the easiest way to draw like me. Just imagine everything as basic shapes, and then from there you just build on that. But this is some sort of... keep on wanting to say luggage compartment even though it isn't. Robert, I should head out. I'll watch the stream later. Nice to see you again. Hey, thank you, man. You head out, have a great time, and yeah, see you in the next one. I am all right. I'm okay. Thanks for the concern. It's things are getting better. Things just need to happen as well. These are things you cannot really escape. This is a bit closer, but I would like to do maybe another variation for this one. So looking at this truck, What happens if we split it up a little bit? So we'd have something there. So as I said again, I am going on a delivery truck system. And while I like to put cockpits to the sides a little bit, what would happen if I would bring it to the center? And I think I'll try a version with that. I have a collection of Copic Grays, but about 3 of them have dried out, so I am thinking of investing in old markers. I know you have done reviews, etc. What are your thoughts now on them? Shipping to NZ is a killer. I think NZ should have touch markers. Let me type it in, just so. Touch marker, because I know they are like Taiwanese or some, so one of the Asian countries there has them, and I always liked touch markers a lot. Now I do think they will be a bit more expensive than a Huhu, and Ohu is good as well, so it's not like have to poop on a Huhu. But yeah, Ohuhu is nice. It is, as I said in my reviews as well, they are a little bit the cheaper brands, so they are sometimes a bit oversaturated, but you really get a lot of bang for your money. It is super cheap, and it's still way better than other cheap brands that I tried. I use them still quite often, so I can recommend them. But just in case, it's worth maybe taking a look also at if you can get your hands on touch as well, just in case. Let's see. Achala Chamara asks, how can I improve my perspective drawing? That's a good question. Let me take some paper. Give me a sec. We have some old paper here that I can use. Very good, very good. Perspective is all about controlling boxes. So where am I? Once you learn how to control your boxes, then you will know perspective. So if you have this box, A, B, C, and you learn to turn it however you would like. So if this is A, this is B, this is C, and then we turn it a bit more. Now this will be A, this will be C, A, C, and then B will be back there. And of course we start perspective with always keeping this the horizon line in mind, and then you have vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2, and then with those you can sort of build your box, and that's how perspective works, and that is correct. But very quickly you will have to step away from this and be able to into this to put also other boxes that sort of do other things. So you will have to see that each box has its own vanishing point going into its own little corners. So keep that in mind. It is just go through, I would say go through my industrial design fundamentals. That teaches you the fundamentals, and after that a lot of drawing from not imagination but what you see. So you can take, I don't know, you take this ink bottle and you hold it for yourself, like let's say, let me hold it for the camera. So this is the ink bottle. We have, this would be the axis, the rotation axis there. And we have one ellipse there, another ellipse there, connect the two. Then we have one ellipse here and another, and these would be the two to the one lid. Not is it lid? I think it is lid. But yeah, and then from here on you just keep on going on and drawing more and more things from live observation, and that should help. Try to apply the fundamental learnings and just draw more and more. Unpack my 10-year-old style file markers. Color my Sinterklaas shoe. Only one green dried out, but color accuracy from the cap is just bonkers. Yeah, that is color accuracy is not always the thing. Style file is German. I only have grays from them, but I actually really like the grays that well, it's more blues, because I do have some cold grays and they're like super blue, but I still enjoy them. The Star Trek fan in me giggled when I passed by the street sign to Uhura. What about finding perspective grid from an ellipse? It's hard finding perspective grid from ellipse. I would rather go all the way around. So what I do, like if I have a car, let's say this is my car, I know that I have two axes for the wheels here, and I know that of course ellipses work. This is always 90 degrees, this is the major and this is the minor axis, and then you put in your ellipse there. Now, how wide the minor axis has to be, that is hard to figure out. So what I do usually is I just draw a square around it, and then I know that sort of this is 90 degrees and this is where my ellipse has to fit in, and that way it's much easier to put or to place your ellipse. There's somewhere the center is there, this is the 90 degrees, and this will be the other wheel. So for me it's much easier. Sometimes also when I try to do the Scott Robertson type really extreme what is it, perspectives, when you have some interesting truck type thing, sometimes I tend to put down squares, and then I know actually I make the square a bit thicker, and that will be the thickness of my wheel as well. So in this case I can also make my square a bit thicker, and then I'm gonna put ellipse there and ellipse here, and then if I connect them I have a wheel. Same here, ellipse there and ellipse there, and then you just connect them. And that's how I would, of course these are horribly off and squares now, don't draw this, but this is how I would construct ellipses, just to know how it fits in perspective. I'm not sure it was better, Ashalam, but I hope it helps you. Okay, back to this one. So I am going to make this back area a bit thinner, just giving some variation. And I think this is the one that I like most out of all of these. I think we can still give it like a nice little protruding bumper, fender, whatever you would want to call this. And then these could be almost like individual doors that can be opened and people can peer into it. So I think I'll go with this one. All right. So I'm just gonna put this in here, so every now and then I can take a look at it. And I'm going to change the perspective a little bit. And just as I said before, I'm going to draw everything out with basic shapes, which in this case is boxes. So we're gonna have one big box that is basically this area here, and then a smaller box there in the back, which is smaller, I mean a bit narrower. It's gonna hang out somewhere there. And then we're gonna have, what does it look like? Let me see. A slightly smaller, more squished box here as opposed to this one. And then once I have my boxes in, let's not forget, I'm also, to be able to center my cockpit, I'm going to do a section line that comes somewhere there. And then I can also check if this one in the back is correct there or not. Now, since I have the center line, I can put in my cockpit. And now I'm relating everything to my lines that I already put down, so it's not too complicated. Now we can do a little bit of rounding, so I'm just rounding off those sharp edges, adding extra lines to make the curve a bit nicer. Same here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we had rounding there. So I'm gonna round this off here. And when I come in with my pen, you will see that I don't necessarily follow all the lines here. These are lines that I will want to see as construction lines, but I will not follow everything perfectly. Hover tow truck. That's something you can get creative with. Tow truck. I like that. I will. Now I'm doing this, but I will want to do a tow truck after. Well, not in today's stream, but in general, I like that idea. Okay, so these will all open up. Maybe here, so yeah, they open both ways. What we can always do is open one, so we can show what it would look like. And then open this area here as well. There we go. Okay, what did I do? So I had some cool thing here going on for the back that I liked. No, not really. I didn't. I imagined I had something, but I see that here. Like if I add two exhaust bolts, something like that, that might work. And then I want this a little bit rounded. As I said, I'm trying to make things a bit more rounded these days. Let's see this front. So there's two approaches I do here, depending on how sketchy I want the drawing. Sometimes I sketch a lot out here, and sometimes I switch to pen relatively early on, and then the drawing, the final drawing becomes a bit more sketchy, because I have to figure things out while I'm already working with my pen. When, of course, you can't make that many mistakes. That's the thing. Internet Guru, what do you think you need to work on personally to improve your art? Many things. Many things. First of all, anatomy is not my strength. Like if we go a little bit, this is one person I studied, two people, and the rest is all mechanical robot thingies, or I do studies of people. I'm really not that good of drawing people just from the head. Like I can go back a lot here. Like these are studies, they don't count. This is study, but this was actually Tom Hardy. Doesn't look like Tom Hardy at all. So yeah, anatomy definitely not my strength. Rendering, not my strength at all. I don't really enjoy rendering that much. There are a few days when I feel like, I feel like rendering, but let's say 99% of the time I don't feel it. I mean, it's so drawing. I'm okay. I'm relatively confident with drawing. It is the values, colors. Those things I all have issues with, mostly also because I don't have a traditional art background. I come from engineering where you needed line drawings to explain things, and like I just never really enjoyed learning about color. I don't get as much. I love looking at stuff that is beautifully rendered, but learning that stuff was never really fun for me. So yeah, that is definitely a weakness of mine for sure.
I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done.
So I feel, let me see, can I, because sometimes so you see some shapes in there and I want to see, do I see something that I like here that I want to apply to my drawing? Just feel like everything is smooth, so I want to bring in a little bit of technical detail or a little bit of dizziness with greeblies and stuff like that. Yeah, guys, just you can DM each other in my Discord. Freaking weirdos. Okay, and I think I'm gonna add one more. We didn't add any like of these hover things. I'm drawing a hover truck, but I didn't add hover platform pieces. And this I will leave a little bit loose. I will come up there with something. All right. So this is sort of where I stop with the pre-sketching, and now I take my pen and start working with that a bit. And now I don't really do, so there's, let me see, do I have, this is a bit more industrial designery, so you can see my lines, as opposed to, where do we have something not very industrial designery? For example, this one. These are very slow and deliberate lines, and that's what I want to do here as well. So I'm not going to do fast lines, I'm going to be relatively slow. I don't mind if my lines will be a little bit more wobbly. I call it an illustrator style. It might not be at all, or maybe illustrators would get offended if I call it that, but that's just what I call this style. And I also leave sometimes little spaces when I do these types of lines. That sort of, for me at least, that stimulates that line that I'm drawing there is further away, so, or it's thin, or it's not that visible. For me it's proportions. I feel like if I get mentally exhausted while doing something, then I'm working on the right thing. I mean, mental exhaustion can mean many things, but yeah, it can definitely also mean that you're learning and that your noggin is doing a lot of work. What we could do is add some like these top headlights, something like that. Yeah, Bob, big rings. I'd buy that truck. What would you do with it, man? Do you need a truck? Don't be a slave of consumerism. Don't buy a truck just to buy a truck. Or as Robert L. Kiss says, big rig. Yeah, man, I just heard it. I didn't realize that that's your handle, even though I could have easily realized that that's your handle, but I'm not the smartest. That's what it is. Okay. Thing is also, if you make mistakes, it's fine. You shouldn't worry. It's one of the things why I like drawing with fine liners and lately with pens a lot, because they just force you to, one, think a little bit ahead so you make less mistakes, but two, if mistakes happen, you just have to learn to live with them. It is part of life. This is the part where it's hard to talk because my brain just really enjoys the repetitive and robotic motions of just drawing straight lines and small details. There we go. So if we add these little triangles here in these corners, it will give it a more 3D-ish effect, like it will give it a bit of a depth. And we like that in our drawings. There we go. We repeat that over here as well, just a little bit gentler. Look at that. Look at that. Alright, that's a nice little grill there. How do you decide when to double up your lines? Well, if I don't see exactly what's there, that's one good thing. But for example, here, let me bring our good old trusted sketch paper. If I have, so take this as any shape within my drawing, right? So this is a cube again. I will never double up here in the middle. I will try and be actually very thin with my lines there, and I will double up here in the outside, because in general you want thick lines on the outside and thin lines on the inside. Look, if I would do the opposite, so if I draw the same cube and I make the inside line strong, it's gonna look weird. Something is not right here, because of course we don't see lines, but in general everything is going to look nicer, or at least we're more familiar if the thick lines or the double lines are on the outside. And I just realized maybe you're asking something else. These double lines, so if I have a cube that I want to round, so I'm gonna round here, there, here and here. Because I have a rounding, I have sort of like two lines there. And like these double lines for me represent that there we have this nice rounding. So that's the other way I do sometimes double lines, which you will see that here within a second. I will do that. So because this has a thickness, I will show the thickness by having, and this line is technically shouldn't even be there, so that's why I'm touching it very thinly and gently, and then here the lines already can become a little bit thicker, because there I have to convey the shape. There, something like that. And this double line is also not always necessary. Sometimes you can do like, because it's a little bit a boring shape if we have nothing, you can take a section line like this and just cut the shape, and when you cut it you can show that the shape is revolving a little bit there. And I'm gonna do the same on this side, there and there, just like that. And now I can also introduce. So usually I do, as you saw before, I do a lot of hovering, but when I'm drawing with my pen, I like to just try and draw in that ellipse without actually hovering and doing it out of one motion. That's why I'm calling this an illustrator or illustrative style, just because I'm not really using my industrial design techniques that I'm used to. I might use it with the pencil when I'm drawing the under sketch, but I'm not using it outside of that. I'm not using them because techniques. we have our door open. Also, you have to be patient because I wanted to start drawing there, but I know that my hand might move there and I might smudge the ink, and I do not want to do that. So it's not worth. Another positive of working with ink, right, is it teaches you also a bit of patience. And also, again, a bit more planning out, which I'm not fantastic at because I love jumping around in my drawings. Okay, this is the back side. Okay, I feel like I need to draw in the inside of my little cockpit here. So we're going to have a little area here for the steering wheel and whatnot, and then a seat there, maybe even something like that. And now that we have that, you don't need to draw in everything because the idea is that I will come in here and just do some. Well, it's not really cross-hatching, is it? Because it just goes one way. Either way, I'm filling in that area. And here we can have a little window as well. Maybe give it a thickness. Just give the hint of a chair. And the rest I will fill in with this non-crosshatch crosshatch as well. There we go, something like that. I have been trying to work on the smooth lines when drawing slow, but I think I need to cut down on the color. Yeah, to be fair, I always had issues with these smooth lines. It's only since I started working with these pens that I started developing this style as well, because with a fine liner I just have the necessity of like drawing it fast, and the fast drawing that gives you relatively straight lines. But this is a different type of quite pleasant drawing, I must say. It's very meditative almost. Okay, I need to pay a bit more attention to this hover pad here with my, I don't know who, I think Matze called it like Lego blocks or something like that, or it was somebody else, but yeah, my Lego block hover pad. Oh, we ran out of music. We need a bit more in the background, or at least something different. Let's do some funk, since we still have Mr. Big Rig himself in the house. Genre, funk. Let's go. All right. Back to the live stream. Mr. Big Rig says, do you have a rule of thumb on choosing what angle on doing hatch lines, as they can really throw off drawing? Yeah, they can throw off drawing if you vary the angles too much. So as you can see here, like here I went one way and then I changed, and this is where I was like, oh, I should stick with this one. And if we take this away, this looks pretty good. And then the rule of thumb is, if you change material, I'm okay with changing the direction as well. So because this is a tree, they all are vertical in there, other than in the tree trunk. They are a little bit like they're following the trunk shape. But on this robot, all the crosshatch goes this way. So interiors, I do usually vertically like this. If I want to do some crosshatching, I would give it an angle. And because I'm right-handed and this is the most comfortable direction for my hand, I would do probably that direction. So that's my rule of thumb when it comes to cross-hatching. In general, it is good to vary the directions as little as possible, unless you're doing like, there's also this type of crosshatch which I like doing, but that gives mostly texture. So I like doing this if I want to imply some sort of texture. This is a fun little crosshatch that you can do. So it's also fun. Okay, I need to project this a little bit to the other side. Okay, and then we said that we have this fender here, this shooting out a little bit. And I can make it a bit more interesting, intriguing. Funk for life indeed. But this thin touching of the line, I also have it a little bit from drawing with pencils. So when I was drawing with pencils when I was younger, I always did some like preliminary lines, just trying to set it up, see how it will look. And you can do the same a little bit with pen as well. Because if you mess up with these lines, if they're like so thin, you can always adjust them a little bit, so you don't have this worry of like, oh, it's a thick, strong line and it is going to ruin my thing now. So here, just I've been talking about to Sam about the rule of thumb. I am going to completely break my rule of thumb, and I'm going to make these horizontal lines. And this is basically the inside of this same pad here. And I have no explanation, I just felt like it would work better if I would do that there. Okay, suggesting some mechanisms that are holding this hover thing here. And then I feel like that's almost like enough. I'm going to do a bit more horizontal stuff here. Stuff in the background, we don't care about that so much. Now we can move on to our open door here. As you can see, my drawing was way off. So I adjust. You have to be parallel with these lines, let's not forget. So this would be the thickness. Now I can make the door just a little bit thicker, so I come back here and I make this outline thicker, also because I want it to pop as opposed to everything that's in the background there. GMBO. Is it just me, or does it look like there should be eyelashes above the headlights? I mean, I was about to say, yeah, it's just you, mate, but as soon as you said that, I'm like, I could draw eyelashes there indeed. Let's finish up this part of our trunk. Jelly 12. What a fun name. I feel overwhelmed from the amount of the information in the internet. What is the best advice you can give for someone who wants to learn drawing, mech, vehicle, etc.? Start with the basics. So as I said in the beginning of this stream, concentrate on basic shapes, squares, ellipses, cylinders, and then when you start combining those into complexer shapes, then you start having the sort of mechs that you want to draw. I started this drawing, if you want to rewatch it later on, I started just with cubes here, and I started adding more stuff to the cubes, I started rounding to the cubes, and that's how I recommend people to learn drawing. Just simplify it for yourself, and then you can add more and more to those simple shapes and slowly make it more complicated. If you haven't seen, go back 1 or 2 videos. I have a tutorial on how I draw spaceships and also how I detail spaceships. So I would say take a look at those. I think those might help you calm down a little bit in how much knowledge there is out there and how much you can like simplify what you want to do with your stuff. Okay, see here on the other side, we didn't draw in at all what's happening here. So I'm going to just quickly add a suggestion there. Something like that. Sydney XYZ. You're so talented, my brother. Thank you, sir. I was surprised a bit to see a drawn stream on YouTube. Oh, a drawing stream on YouTube. Really? I mean, there's plenty of big YouTubers who are artist people and they do drawing streams. I mean, okay, I follow them because I am interested, of course, but there are plenty of people who do that. Modern Day James does quite a lot of streams, or at least he did in a while. Spencer from sketchaday.com, he does, or at least did, a lot of drawing live streams. There's concept art people who are doing live streams. I would say there is plenty. Okay, let's see. So I'm just gonna add sort of like, Matsuba will translate this Schublade. I don't know what a Schublade is now in English, but hopefully we'll know soon. Jelly, thank you. I'll work hard on that. It's just that I sit on my desk and never know what to practice. It's really interesting to see you drawing. Thank you. As I said, always go for the simplest stuff, and then when you start combining the simple stuff, you can achieve more complicated results. And you can also look, maybe a good exercise for you, especially if you're still in the beginning as well, is look at complicated like cars or whatnot and see how you can break them down into simple shapes. So like how many cubes can you fit into a car that you see on the street, how many cylinders, ellipses, so on and so forth. And then when you train your eye to disassemble objects into their simpler form, drawer, there you go, drawer, truss loader, Schublade. When you train your eye to disassemble complex objects into simpler, more basic forms, it's also easier to draw those. Yeah, so these are maybe some sort of drawers that are full of, I don't know, stuff. So here, this is also a good question. I would want to go horizontal, but I'm gonna try and see what I can achieve with vertical. And when I was younger, I was always afraid that, oh, I can't do those long vertical lines. No problem. We're just gonna stop here. And we're gonna try and do that distance again and again. And that's perfectly fine. Not a problem at all. Look at that. See? Works. Works well. Your hand is very precise. The lines you draw are very straight and their length is consistent with each other. This is wonderful. Thank you. Well, it is, yeah, this is something that they sort of hammer into you at industrial design courses, or when you're learning drawing for industrial design. We had to draw a bunch of lines, and I show them in my, if you've ever seen my industrial design fundamental videos, I show them there that usually it is recommended that you start any drawing with just filling a whole page just by connecting lines, and that will get you closer to having more control over your lines. But for many years I was always wondering, like, how can people draw so slow and steady and not have wobbly hands? And I realize now that I do have wobbly hands. It's just I'm at a certain point where I'm like, oh, you know what, that much wobbliness I'm actually fine with. I don't mind. Like I follow people like Karl Kopinski, and he draws his humans, and there's a lot of wobbly lines in what he does, but I really like what he does. So at one point I was like, well, why don't I apply that to myself? Why am I so hard on myself with wobbly lines? So let me just see what I can get away with that I actually still enjoy myself. And I guess I found sort of like a certain amount of wobbliness that I'm fine with. Oh, I'm pushing the camera with my glasses as well. It's funny.
Professional YouTuber.
Professional YouTuber indeed. Okay, so we're going to need just a little bit of definition here. So in here we're going to have probably a couple of gribblies, some techno mumbo jumbo, and then here we're going to have another one of these Lego hover thingamajigs, and I want a little bit of more technical stuff running around down there, and maybe we can add like an antenna there to make it a bit more interesting, and I'll also add one of these things. Did you try cartoony art style? So my art style comes from a mix of industrial design and comic books, because I grew up with comic books. Well, I didn't grow up. I never had money for them, or we didn't have them in our country until I became like a young teenager, and then I sort of discovered them. But they influenced me a lot. So not necessarily cartoony, but I definitely have a comic-y style that I do. Embrace the wobble, so hard. Porsche driver full. Where did you study? I studied industrial design engineering masters in Delft, at the TU Delft. That was very fun. I enjoyed it very much. I even had the privilege of teaching for the last 2 years there a little bit, and that was very, very fun. I would have never thought that I would enjoy teaching so much. But then I realized basically what I do here, I answer people's questions about drawing, but we're face to face, so I can give them more direct feedback, which is quite satisfying as well. Matsubov says the girlfriend married a professional famous person. The girlfriend laughs me in the face with that, for that. Or the ex-girlfriend.
15 euros you make a month really prove that.
I was listening to a streamer today, and he said that even if you have like up to 1 million subscribers, you have to have a bunch of sponsors to hit that steady 100k a month. Or a year, sorry, not a month. What am I talking about? 100k a year income. If there is a game with your art, it will be an amazing game for sure, but it will be a nightmare work as well. Why would it be a nightmare work? Also, I don't know if you played Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay. The girlfriend is. I don't. Keep on saying girlfriend now. I said wife before, and now I'm messing up. So I made this. This game has my sort of art on it. I never even thought of showcasing this. I don't know. It didn't cross my mind. But there's like a bunch of cards that I made for this. It's just really not handig here. Let me show it like this. So it's sort of like a cyber security thing. Let me turn off this a little bit. There we go. So we have all sorts of attack cards and defense cards, and I made the art for all of this. So this was very fun. And on the other side, as I was saying, there's also a game called Horizon Zero Dawn that I worked on a bit as an intern, so you can see some stuff there as well. Don't listen to the haters, Matsubov says. So you're Dutch. Maybe one day I will be. I did 2 years industrial product ontwerpen at Winsheim, Zwolle. Ooh, I didn't even know about that. Stopped due to life circumstances, still miss it. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope it wasn't too serious, but hope you can also take it up again. Like, industrial design is really fun. But yeah, I didn't. Zwolle. Did I want? Because I know before I applied at the TU Delft, there I also applied at Eindhoven, and there was something in Enschede as well, but I don't recall now. So then, what did you do anything else, Porsche Driver Full? With that fun industrial design stuff that you started out with? I meant a video game, yeah, as I said. Actually, not just that one, because I also worked on the last, only 2 things. What was it called? Killzone game, the last Killzone game. I worked on that one as well. I only did 2 hand scanners, so it's not a big achievement there, but it was very fun. I like the sci-fi world that they had there. Blueberry, first stream. Welcome, Blueberry. Well, it's towards the end of the first stream. We're almost done here. We were doing hover. Well, I wanted to do a hover car, but we ended up with a hover truck in the end, which is fine because I like these sort of more angular designs quite a bit. So I'm not complaining. I really love Dutchland history, especially the mustache guy parts. Gee, what? Okay. I'll just take that as it is. I will not try to understand that. I just like that sentence. I think that is a great sentence in its own. Okay, just throwing in some more grooglies here, having a bit of fun left and right. We're not being too serious. I feel like that should be like mantra of most everything that I do is don't be too serious. Just have fun. I mean, do a good job. I'm not saying don't put effort into it, but you can put effort in and still be a little bit funny about it. There. And I feel now we can add a little bit. Well, actually what I like to do at this point is wait a second for the ink to dry, and then I erase all the red lines in this case, because all the lines in the background give you an impression of busyness, and it almost looks like there's more detail here than there actually is. So that's why I like to erase. Of course, not everything gets erased, because I don't want to damage the paper, so I'm not pushing like crazy, but I try to erase as much as I can of my pre-sketch, and then I come back and I see, okay, where do I need a bit more detail, where do I need to strengthen my lines, where do I need to double my lines, that sort of thing. So we can already see that I will probably go over the outlines because it's a bit too thin. I will strengthen here the fenders. This hover thingamajig needs strengthening. So there is some things that I want to do. It is a HBO, so probably that's why it was not on your radar. I just draw design just for hobby now. Hey, that's you do the same thing. I also draw and design for hobby. I mean, okay, no, I draw for work as well, but industrial design is mostly a hobby at this point. Same with like concept art and stuff. But yeah, I'm not Dutch, but I've been living here now for 12 years, if not more. So back in those days, I didn't know about HBOs and the MBOs and the differences between universities and these. So then what is your profession now? Posh? I am curious. Because I remember back in the days when I was still doing, like, first I went to Germany and I did a year of internship there as an engineer, just properly in a factory. And I have never been so driven to draw than in those days. Every day I came home after 5, sometimes at 6 from work, and I was drawing almost until 12 midnight, just because I really felt like, oh, I have so many things, I have so much creative energy in me, and I needed an outlet for all of that. So sometimes it's actually beneficial for your creative mind if your day-to-day work is not necessarily the same thing. Did you ever play Cuphead, and what do you think about it? Cuphead seems, so I saw people play it. I'm not into those very hard type games. I am becoming an old man. I like my simple, easy games. Every now and then I put something on a harder difficulty when I become good at it and I really master it. But I find it rare. Like, I think the last game where I was like, oh, okay, I really want the challenge of knowing that I properly know how to play this game was Ghost of Tsushima, where I went in hard mode. That was very fun. So let's do some, because these are all the same doors. These I make repetitive. I want the design to be the same. And the rest, I throw it a little bit all over the place. I don't need it to be exactly the same. Sam Hannaford, I draw to relax, then get frustrated that I'm not relaxed. That's okay. Maybe try not to get frustrated. You know the what was it? How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson. Just be awesome instead. Don't be frustrated, man. It's not good to be frustrated. Snide XYZ, how old are you, bro? Come on, you don't ask a lady how old they are. It's not nice. But I am 38. Okay, so I think like this is already a bit more cohesive now. I think we can almost call it. We're getting there where I'm becoming comfortable. Maybe adding a double line here, just to emphasize that this can also open. And as you can see, there's a bunch of empty spaces where there's no detail and it's not really explained how that works, and I like leaving some things up to the imagination of the viewer. You might call that laziness, but it's nice for the viewer also to fill some things in. There we go. Let's add a little signature there. The date is 12/0. Oh, American, sorry. 04/12. Oh Jesus, 2023. There we go. Somebody will be able to read this. Whenever you're sad, stop being sad and be awesome instead. Exactly, that's what Barney Stinson always said. Okay, a little bit thickness here, and then with that, we will call it a day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would say throw in a last question if you have one. I will gladly go into it. Otherwise, this little how to draw a hover truck, or how I draw a hover truck, is sort of over. Like one thing that I can show you what I like to do to emphasize the bend here is I add these little bendy lines. There we go, also here a little bit. And I also like to beschmutz my things a little bit, so I just add a bit of dirtiness, a bit of irregularities here, because you want these things to be used, right? You don't want them necessarily to be brand new, so it's always more interesting when you have a couple of these irregularities. These are all things that you usually add these towards the end. There we go, something like that. All right, ladies and gents, this was our little hover car for the night. I can also turn off the example image. We don't need it anymore. But you can see, at least, let me bring it a bit bigger here. And you can see that there are some things that I took from here, but I didn't do a one-on-one copy, obviously. I changed quite a lot. So this is how we're using reference. Okay, one final question from Blueberry. Any tips for constructing the head? Kind of unrelated, but something I'm working on. Well, as I said before, I am horrible at anatomy, but what I can say is so all my anatomy, what I was learning was from Andrew Loomis' old book. You can find it in probably all old libraries. There's a million PDFs floating around on the internet, and Bridgman as well. So how I draw heads is, so there's several ways. You can take a sphere and cut off two edges, and then if we turn the sphere a little bit in 3D, So a sphere would be something like this, right? Like this is a sphere, and then I cut off this part here, and then also the other part, and then from there, basically, let me jump around a little bit. If we look from the side, where we have this flat area now, if we look at this flat area here, what I like to do is I bring it down, like if we cut this into thirds, I bring it down there, and I construct basically this area here. So this will be the chin. And then, if I remember correctly, the thirds, this was the lips, this was the eyes, and this was the top of the head. So then the nose usually fits in there. And then if that's the lips, then this would be your eyes. And then that can be the head. This would be the ear. Ear always fits in between. It's usually the same as the nose. So that's something that you can do. And then if we come back to this 3D again, so this line here comes here in the center, and then 3D way it goes back there, goes up there. We can't see on the other side. The nose is somewhere here. Like also, if people who are actually good with anatomy see this, they're probably cringing big time. This is the one eye, this is the other eye, eyebrows there, as I said, ear fits there, mouth fits there, and then hair fits there. So this is very quick, very rough, very ugly how I approach heads. Thank you, Sam. So you were born when Germany was divided into two parts. So were you born in East or West? I'm not German, man. But I was born before Germany was united, indeed. Carriers are cool. Hover vehicles that carry other vehicles. I like that. That's a good one. We should do that next time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with this ugly head, I think it's time to call it an end to this day. I will pull up our little sketch again just so we remember what we did today. And it was based, so as you can see, we started out with a block. I can also bring back the example image. There we go. We took that example image up there. Then we did this. Then we moved to this one and sort of ended up with this one. And I said, I like this. Let's turn this into a drawing. And that turned into this here little boy. Always use those basic shapes or fundamental shapes and just build on top of that and just have fun guys. Thank you everybody for joining this stream. Hope you learned something, and hopefully I'll see you in another one. Until then, have a great time. Bye bye, and keep on sketching.